Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Good morning. Happy Friday the 13th. If you like spooky, I'm personally a fan of the spooky. We're going to give people just a minute to continue coming in here. We still have quite a few people joining us. We'll get started in probably a minute and a half. Maybe while we get started in this minute, it would be nice if some folks would introduce themselves in the chat. Maybe name, institution, location, and hmm. I was gonna say thing I'm most excited for spring, but it's a proper snowstorm out here, and I'm actually feeling very deflated about it. Um, Favorite holiday, name, institution, position, favorite holiday. Reese, what's your favorite holiday?
Over 40 months.
Give people one more minute. Hmm. Halloween's my favorite holiday too. Fantastic, folks. I'm going to get us in and get us started since we're slowing down in our waiting room here. Uh, Hello, welcome. Welcome in. If you've been here before, then welcome back. My name's Tiffany MacLennan. I'm the host of Focus Friday. Focus Friday is basically a place where we come on Friday afternoons to hang out and talk about cool things. So I hope you all have a coffee. I see a lot of people here are from Ontario right now, so I hope you're surviving the snow and that you're going to take a nice little minute to re-warmth amongst our friends. Um, Today we're talking about, I think, one of the most requested topics, if not the most requested topic, on Focus Friday, which is how people are using AI actually within an institution. Seems like a pretty easy question usually, but let me tell you, folks, don't know if you've ever heard, we're a little bit siloed as institutions, if you will. And sometimes getting people to actually talk about what AI looks like within a campus, across a campus, whatever it may be, is actually very challenging. So I have a handful of people here with me today who are really excited, I think, to talk to you all. Um, for those, there's a lot of new names in here, which I'm really excited about. So let me walk you through some of our conversations and how these work, since this is probably a lot of your first times here. We do record this session, but we usually only post the first half on YouTube. So how this is going to work is that we have the first half where we'll let the team here talk about AI on University of Alberta campus, and then the second half we open to audience Q&A. So the first half normally will be posted directly to YouTube. Normally we don't post the second half. Weird caveat there that if the conversation like really flows and there's really no gap, then usually I post both. The Q&A happens in the second half. I encourage you deeply to unmute yourself and come and chat and raise your hand and ask a question to our panelists, but we accept the chat as well. If you send them directly to me, I might not see it as quickly, so please use the public chat. Um, I think that's the introductory spiel. Um, so to walk through a little bit of context here, um, AI is rapidly shaping a whole lot of things, not only within higher education, but I think the broader society. But within our own institutions, there's so much happening with AI in teaching and research and administration and libraries and student services and whatever the gambit may be. And one of the things that I think are one of the greatest challenges is that AI activity is happening every single place at once and all differently and all the time not always perfectly communicated. And so today, Janice had reached out to me quite a while back to talk about an idea for a Focus Friday session. A mild plug here that if you send me ideas, we can make them happen. Just a reminder. But Janice came to me and said, "Hey, what if we talked about how AI literacy and adoption happens across an institution, and we can pull in some different groups together. And so now I am so excited that we have pulled these groups together to be able to kind of talk about some of these a little bit more. So I'm going to walk us through a quick introduction of our guests. First, we have Karsten Mundel from the Teaching and Learning Center at University of Alberta, Janice Kung from the Library at University of Alberta, Shiri from Graduate Programs, Ibironke Popoola from Research Offices, and Warren kufuor-Boakye in IT. I'm going to pass it over to Karsten to kick us off, walk us through the next half hour, and really give us a little taste of what AI collaboration looks like at University of Alberta.
Thank you, Tiffany. Great to be here with all of you. As mentioned, I work in teaching and learning. I'm currently the Vice Provost Learning Initiatives, and in that role, I also co-chair a variety of AI-related committees, and with lots of the good folks in this room as well. As we begin, just also want to acknowledge that I'm here based in Edmonton and so located on Treaty 6 territory and the homeland of the Métis, which is a traditional gathering place for many Indigenous peoples who have and continue to take care of this lovely space. And I think it's really important to make acknowledgement of the land and the way in which we're all related. Even in a topic like this that seems sort of abstract and disconnected, many of us will know about OCAP principles related to data specifically, and I think it's a really important piece to bring into the conversation. As we're talking about AI literacy, sort of one of the foci today, it's not just a technical literacy, it's also about responsible use, ethical use, and for me, we as a university are a learning organization. We need to be committed to that and ensuring that Indigenous data sovereignty, protection of knowledge systems are central to how we think about, talk about, implement AI ecosystems and learning opportunities. So great to be here. And really wanting to talk a little bit about University of Alberta as a learning organization. And learning is a process that is always happening, always evolving, never done. So this isn't we've got everything figured out perfectly, but this is where we are in this moment of everything all at once. As we think about what does it mean to really meet this moment of rather ubiquitous AI. And it's sort of moving beyond that hype of it all and into how we work on institutional fluency or information AI fluency in this work. And we've actually just done this during the pandemic. We've done major pivots. And so I know that as organizations, we are capable of doing this, and we can build on that being a learning organization as we do that. So you'll hear from different areas of our university and the work that they're doing and the way that connects to other institutional efforts. We have committees, and I like to think of those sort of as the skeleton, but it's really changing the culture and building out the nervous system, right? And the ways in which we connect. None of this group here is on any specific committee together, but we work and collaborate together, and that's an important part of the work to prepare ourselves and prepare our students for the work. And I would say that's one group of people that probably should have been invited. Sorry, that's my fault. Students are an important part of our work here on AI literacy. And so want to make sure that we give a shout out to the students that are contributing to this work and pushing us and pulling us in good ways. So I also need to get out of the way so that we can hear from our panelists, and then looking forward to the conversation. I'll let them introduce themselves, and we'll start off with Shiri.
Thanks very much, Karsten. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the country. I'm Shiri, currently Vice Dean in the Faculty of Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies at the University of Alberta. I am also a Professor of Information Science in the Faculty of Education, and it's a pleasure to be here and to talk about this important area that is fast-moving and fast-shifting and changing. I would like to focus more on AI literacy, but also the importance of collaboration and having a coherent, coordinated approach to AI literacy in tandem with building and capacity around infrastructure, compute tools but more importantly, AI literacy. So that's in my area, which is graduate and postdoctoral education. I see AI literacy as a more than just learning how to use a tool. For me, AI literacy is about helping graduate students, supervisors, uh, postdoctoral scholars, researchers to develop kind of knowledge, judgment, and confidence to use AI ethically, critically, and effectively in research, writing, supervision, and scholarly communication in general. So a major part of my work has been to frame AI literacy as a core academic and research capability. This means supporting people not only in understanding what generative AI can do, tools, but also helping them recognize limitations, biases, risks, and implications for academic integrity, knowledge creation, and scholarly responsibility. And all these areas are impacted by AI. In other words, I'm interested in moving the conversation beyond just simple tool adoption or prompting toward more critical and responsible use. So in practical terms, this work has involved, for example, developing resources, guidelines of responsible use, conversations around the use of generative AI in graduate supervision and research, and helping faculty and grad students think through questions such as, for example, when is AI useful in the research process? Where should we be cautious? How do we actually evaluate the AI-generated outputs? How do we verify claims, sources, citations, and provenance of data? And how do we ensure that these tools support learning and again scholarly development rather than replacing critical thinking, cognitive offloading, or a new term, cognitive surrender? So this work also connects very directly to my broader scholarship and writing on AI in higher education and research. So in my recent work, for example, I have been exploring how AI agents and large language models are transforming research itself from literature discovery and synthesis to writing, analysis, interdisciplinary inquiry. So for me, AI literacy is not a side conversation. It is a necessary response to the transformation we are actually seeing in the research ecosystem. And as research practices evolve, our understanding of literacy must evolve with these technologies and tools. And at the University of Alberta, of course, I've worked very closely with Karsten, Center for Teaching and Learning, with Janice Kung, with Warren, to actually promote this in a more coherent and holistic perspective. This work connects to broader institutional ecosystem, including responsible and ethical use, teaching and learning support, public engagement, interdisciplinary research. And I'm trying to contribute to kind of graduate education perspective that connects these broader institutional efforts to really the day-to-day realities of supervision, student learning, and researcher development. One thing that I think is especially important is that AI literacy cannot be reduced to technical proficiency. And this, we will see that. It must include information literacy and data literacy, digital literacy, ethical literacy, privacy and confidentiality literacy, and more importantly, indigenous literacy. We know that how large language models actually are misrepresenting or totally excluding low resource languages such as indigenous languages and knowledge systems. So researchers and students need to know how to actually ask good questions, assess evidence, understand the provenance of data, citations, and sources, and verify outputs and make informed judgments. So for this work to succeed, of course, strong connections with other areas are essential, and that's what we are doing at the University of Alberta. We need close collaboration with teaching and learning units, the Center for Teaching and Learning under the supervision of Karsten, because AI literacy has to be embedded in educational practice. Second, we need strong partnership with libraries and information specialists. I worked with Janice, as I said, libraries have been historically been at the forefront of information literacy instruction. So this work cannot happen without their support and expertise. Finally, we need connections with research offices, ethics bodies, institutional leadership, because governance, policy, and educational practice need to be aligned. And finally, we need to engage. We need really engagement across different disciplines because of the interdisciplinary nature and impact of AI. So in summary, my work is about building AI literacy as a thoughtful, research-centered, and institutionally connected practice. And ultimately, our goal is to help ensure that AI becomes more present in academic life. Our students and researchers become not just more capable users of AI, but more thoughtful and responsible scholars because of how they actually engage with it. So I'll stop there, Karsten.
Thank you so much, Ali. Ibironke, I will have you chat a little bit about the research side of things.
Thank you so much. Good morning and good afternoon or good evening. My name is Ibironke Popoola, and I'm a research development officer in the Research Development Services portfolio of the Office of the Vice President Research. And so my focus will be on the grant development side of things, because that's the area where I operate. And generally, I support the development of processes. I support the development of tools and strategies that will help researchers in their grant application. And with the coming in of generative AI, it has become very important that it has become a very important aspect of the work that I do. And when it comes to grant development and AI literacy, the focus is on helping researchers to be critical and informed users of generative AI for grant development. We want them to take advantage of the benefits of the use of artificial intelligence in grant development, but at the same time, for them to be aware of the risk involved, and to move from that curiosity when it comes to the use of artificial intelligence to them being competent, to them being confident, and to them knowing what to do and what not to do when it comes to the use of artificial intelligence. So when in the area of grant development, the work that I do basically is in two ways. Like what we have done so far with respect to AI literacy is mainly divided into two parts. We have the parts where this will be launched very soon. We have developed a resource, a web resource for researchers to know about what can generative AI do when it comes to grant development, in what areas can it improve efficiencies for them, and also knowing because now when it comes to grant, they are dealing with funding agencies, there's a need for them to be aware of the requirements of those funding agencies when it comes to the use of generative AI, and how to also navigate the murky waters of intellectual properties when it comes to the use of generative AI, right from the grant development side of things. And the other side is the workshop series that we are also working on, and that will also cover the foundational aspects of things like the ethical implications, the legal and IP side of things when it comes to generative AI in grant development, as well as the functional or specialized side of things, like developing those tools that can help researchers improve efficiency when writing grant applications. So we have particularly helping them to overcome that blank page anxiety that most researchers may have when it comes to starting grant applications. And so we've seen areas where in the area of EDI statements, helping them to think, not necessarily just generating something for them, but being that partner that they can think together, brainstorm, and come up with ideas. Also, when it comes to proposal development, so we also work on developing this internal tools that can support grant development, and also training them on how to use these tools effectively and efficiently. So those are the areas of AI literacy that we work on. And in terms of collaboration, of course, we work with Janice. We've had interaction with the library a whole number of times. We also interact with faculty leads, because then they bring in the human expertise. We have an understanding of those areas where they feel artificial intelligence can be useful for them. And so we also work with the research partners that support specific competitions to understand the requirements of specific competitions and how we can develop tools to help improve efficiency. And going forward, we'll also be working with the legal team, the safeguarding research office, the data security side of things, so that all those areas are covered when researchers are using generative AI for grant development. So our goal is not just to teach people on how to use this tool, but we want to help them to use it with integrity. We want to help them to be able to critically evaluate the outputs that generative AI generates, and then to use it safely, to use it in an ethical manner, and to also benefit from the unlimited possibilities and advantages that using these tools bring when it comes to grant development.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
So in some ways, we're engaged in this collective experiential learning opportunity. And I don't know if there's a grade at the end, and I'm not sure who's handing it out. But in order to sort of practice all of these different AI pieces, we actually need some pretty significant infrastructure. And so really excited to have Warren talk a little bit about, from the IT perspective, how are we navigating that side of the equation?
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks, Karsten. So I'm Warren Kufuor-Boakye. I'm the Chief Enterprise Architect within IST at the U of A. And for context, so that my story makes sense, I'll give you a bit of grounding on what a Chief Enterprise Architect does. So it's not just looking at things from a technology infrastructure perspective. It's also looking at things from an organizational capability perspective and how we're blending what the institution's able to do with the technology that supports it. So my role is more than just the plumbing for AI. It's providing us a map so that all of our community can effectively navigate and safely navigate and ethically navigate AI as an opportunity to accelerate and enable outcomes at scale. And so architecture is working to provide the structure, but in line with the precepts of my colleagues, literacy provides the agency and enables the impact that we're seeking. So a little bit on our journey in terms of enabling our productivity AI at scale at the institution. On balance, I'd say we're trying to be, again, enablers as opposed to regulators. So IT is constantly trying to walk the fine line between partnership and enablement and security and compliance, but doing so with enterprise risk at the center of that gravity, while making sure that we're taking reasonable measured steps moving forward. So our journey of measured steps has been one of great interest, but also of great pace. We've done so being mindful of enterprise risk, but trying to satiate demand at every step of the way. And what we've elected to do is start with what are called proofs of value exercises. So starting small with a smaller group to evaluate where these tools can provide the greatest value, address them in all the pillars and all the core accountabilities of the institution. So looking at things from a teaching and learning perspective, from a research perspective, from a student supports perspective, and then also obviously from an administrative perspective, and seeing how there's opportunities to collaborate, to blend, to leverage each of those different perspectives to build a greater whole than the sum of its parts. So this allowed us to move confidently with enabling productivity at scale for our staff to start. So we went from kind of a blended proof of value exercise, really understood where the tool made sense, where it was of benefit, where it actually didn't make sense, or where we should not focus our time on, and then provide that feedback directly into our collective groups and have them start to lever that as something that they can move forward with. So that piece was of interest. We gathered great metrics and we're able to craft a good argument for additional investments in our productivity AI space. As I'm sure most of you know, all of our AI vendors have kind of a free product that, by design adds a little bit of friction in terms of how you can interact with it. And then they offer a more premium product that's meant to integrate into your workflows and into your daily life. And of course, those investments are not small. And in the current, circumstances that many of us find ourselves in, we need to have a good value case on why that investment makes sense versus other things that an institution could do with its finite resources. So as things move forward, we continue to keep apprised of what's developing in our productivity AI space. We have a very good partnership with our digital workspace provider in Google, in that they're continuing to invest, substantially at scale in terms of supporting the mission of making AI a useful tool for the world at large, but in particular for higher education. And working with them, we're able to continue to take measured steps and leverage exactly the investments that they've been making in this tooling. Um, in terms of how we continue to go forward, I'd say that we're embracing experimentation, but I'm using that word very specifically. So experimentation by its nature requires, a hypothesis, some variables, some controls, some expected outcomes. We're doing so that we can start to focus our time and attention where we think there's going to be a return, and do so in ways that we have pre and post measures that help us validate the recommendations that we put forward with. And again, this is trying to find balance between, people's great appetite and desire to explore with the practice of experimentation. And I think, we continue to wrestle with what that looks like. Certainly you need some people that are vanguards and out there and pushing the limits, but for the vast majority of the campus community, there is a degree of stability and a degree of foundational reliance that is required. So as we move forward, our approach is really geared around our need to manage enterprise risk. And so taking an experimental nature, we've also set up some guardrails that help us do that. Our approach has been to look at things from a data perspective. So what are we supplying to these tools? And is what we're supplying to these tools of a degree of sensitivity or something that would yield a competitive advantage that we wouldn't want in the general public? And so we've aligned our guardrails and our guidance on the use of generative AI tools around the type of information that's being submitted. And so we have a 4 striation data security and data privacy framework, of which, the highest, most sensitive, most competitive information is actually information that our guidance suggests you don't submit to any sort of generative AI tool. And again, that's in the best interest of the individuals, but also in the best interest of the institution. That leads to some interesting circumstances. I'm sure all folks have heard of kind of human in the loop. We're doubling down on that requirement. So that's woven into our framework for the ethical use of AI. That's woven into our guardrails around data sensitivity. Ultimately, as members of the larger campus community, it's our individual accountability to align with the best interests of the institution, and obviously best interests of ourselves in terms of the efforts and works that we're trying to pursue. And so that's how we've structured managing enterprise risk. The last piece I'll touch on is really in terms of how IT can support coordination across this. So harkening back to how I discussed experimentation, the other side of that is observation. And so we're working towards building out an AI observatory. And again, that's giving us kind of the signals intelligence to see all of the AI activity, investments, and curiosity that's taking place on campus. Curate organic outcomes, direct energies, balance innovation and curiosity with autonomy, but also being continually mindful of enterprise risk and safety. And so through that observatory, it can give us a view of, interesting things that are happening that maybe other folks should pile into, interesting outcomes that have been accomplished that hopefully others can leverage. But also if we start to see situations or circumstances where we think there might be an increase in enterprise risk that requires more oversight or diligence, again, the AI observatory is our tool to start to dig into those. So I won't keep anyone too much longer. Hopefully folks found of interest, and I'm looking forward to answering any questions you might have after this.
Thanks, Warren. That's great, and great to have a partner there in IST, our Information Services and Technology. Now turn it over to Janice.
Great, thank you so much. And last but not least, I'm Janice Kung. I am a health sciences librarian, and I recently completed a brief stint with CARL, Canadian Association of Research Libraries. I was a visiting program officer for AI and library services, and that was a great opportunity to kind of work at the national scale to see how research libraries across Canada are dealing with this situation. In terms of how libraries have been supporting AI literacy at the University of Alberta, it was a multi-pronged approach. So at the university level, we developed AI modules that were loaded into our learning management system, and anyone at the university can enroll in these modules, students, faculty, and staff. So that was a great initiative to ensure that we're getting that information out there. At the faculty level, I have been reaching out to my areas to inform them that libraries have expertise in this area, that we can provide workshops, seminars to their groups. And one example is we recently had a request from the School of Business. We're doing a session for their staff members coming up very shortly here. And at the course level, I have also been offering guest lectures for graduate pharmacy courses to inform students on how they may use AI for research purposes. In terms of how AI is connected to all of our work in the library, as Ali alluded to, AI literacy is an extension of digital literacy, which is a further extension of information literacy that we have been doing since the beginning of time. Because at the end of the day, we can think about AI tools as another way of accessing information. And folks need to know how to find it, how to use it, and evaluate it properly. And so this is really core to what we do in the library system. And so I encourage you to reach out to your libraries at your institutions to get some support if you are planning, system-wide, strategy-wide AI literacy initiatives in your own home institutions. And in terms of how we are looking to move forward, continuing the partnerships with the graduate services and research office, obviously introducing folks to our amazing enterprise Gemini subscription. So it's kind of tying in all of the pieces that you're hearing about earlier today. And our hopes and dreams is to ensure that all students have some form of AI literacy requirement in the Greek programs before they graduate, so that they are kind of going out into the workforce with at least a baseline knowledge of what is AI literacy, how does that impact their work and their learning, that kind of thing. So I will stop right there and I'll turn things back to Karsten. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you so much, all of the panelists. And Tiffany, I don't know if you want to moderate or if you want me to moderate conversation. I see that we've got some questions in the chat.
Karsten, feel free to take it away. You've been doing a great job. You're making my life so easy today.
Okay,
We're glad to hang out.
Awesome. So yeah, just curious if any of the folks who either have questions in the chat want to sort of throw up their hand and talk a little bit about that for us to respond to. But just use the raise hand function and we can go that way. People feeling shy? Okay, go ahead, Stephanie, please.
Yeah, thanks for that. I really appreciate the conversation, and I love my position at McMaster is special advisor generative AI, and so coordination is the name of my game right now. So I appreciate hearing all of your different perspectives and how you're working together. I guess my question is coming more from trying to situate AI use within the systems that we're operating within. And so curious if there's also been coordinated conversation around more like structural changes within the institution that may be incentivizing misuse of AI. And so not just thinking about how do we encourage responsible use and kind of rely on individuals doing the right thing, but actually thinking of where may we be creating incentives for them to actually misuse AI that are kind of working against us?
Yeah, that's a great question, and one we often think about sort of in that academic integrity space, and the sort of the integrity of the assessment. But I'm hearing, yeah, what are we doing sort of organizationally and thinking about that? So this is the fun part. I am not personally involved in any of those conversations directly. I think perhaps Warren's space sort of thinking through some of these pieces, but yeah, I don't know. Warren, do you have anything to add on that?
Yeah, happy to chime in there, Karsten. I think the first thing that's noteworthy for the U of A is, we're definitely an AI institution, but one of the things we haven't put in place is an AI mandate. And I think that perspective changes how people approach the potential as well as the challenge. I guess My opinion on that is twofold. One, an AI mandate can encourage that kind of misuse or misbehavior because people are trying to demonstrate activity as opposed to derive value. And so inadvertently or not, that can be an outcome. I think the second thing is the way we're positioning at least AI from an operations perspective is we're not treating it as something particularly new or novel. And I'll say that with an asterisk. We're seeing this as the next evolution of technology, much in the same way we went from the abacus to the calculator to the spreadsheet. We see this as the next step that is obviously being taken at scale across the world. And we're really thinking about how do we continue to enable ourselves from an efficiency and an accuracy and a consistency perspective, but doing so in a way that, as I mentioned during kind of my overview, we're able to observe and we're able to measure. So I think the two-part answer to your question for me would be one, thinking about how we're positioning the use of AI from an institutional perspective. Certainly mandates can get use up, but that comes with a variety or a plurality of behaviors associated with that. And then the second part is really continuing down the path of having a good degree of transparency and observability for work that's taking place. And so, hopefully the outcomes you see with the use of AI are accelerated. But in the same way that we've continually been vigilant to see misuse of information or misuse of technology, that part also has to accelerate to keep pace with what's possible with AI.
And I'm sure we could write a whole book on this topic. I think it's a fascinating and important question, and yeah, to think through exactly how do we weave that change. I would say it's perhaps a bit early yet to also think through all of those pieces in terms of structural shifts, especially as an institution that's gone through some pretty significant structural changes in the last while with the creation of our college model. I think I saw Cameron next.
Hello. Thanks everybody for this. My question is maybe to Warren a little bit and then to Ali. Warren, you were mentioning something about kind of not so much acceptable use, but things that should be put in or can't be put in, and then kind of maybe jump in a little more to your signals intelligence. What are you looking for from your observatory that we could look for in our own institutions or things like that? And then for Ali, what is on the research side, what acceptable use is there, and kind of where do you see our ability to use it or where we shouldn't be doing certain things?
Sure. Thanks, Cameron. So on the observability side of things, what we're really looking at is the context of use and the conditions of use, and then the data that's being used. And we're doing that from hopefully from a prior to execution perspective, so that we're able to shape interest and shape demand in a way that we know the institution can be relatively comfortable from an enterprise risk perspective. There are other potentials that, to Karsten's point, further down the road, when there's more maturity in this space and there's more tooling to support administration and operations of these tools come into play. You can, think of the analog of what we have right now in terms of data loss prevention. I'm sure at some point we'll have a data submission prevention practice in place that's really looking at how institutional information is being used, shared, or applied to things like generative AI or other AI endeavors based on how we classify information. And so longer term, I would expect those tools start to come into place and to give the institutions a better overview of what's transpiring with their data. And then on the signal side of things is really, again, making sure we're building awareness. Because again, to Karsten's earlier point, and I think I mentioned it as well, with the constraints that institutions face these days, redundant experimentation is probably not in its best interest. And so if we can quickly gather learnings that have already transpired somewhere else and maybe that we didn't have the awareness of, that's reinforcing the academic model of standing on the shoulders of those that came before you, as opposed to going and standing beside them and achieving the exact same outcome.
Yeah, and also for the second part, Cameron, as you mentioned, I mean, and that's a multifaceted actually question. But briefly in terms of the research process, if you really think about the process from brainstorming and thinking about ideas and coming up with experiments or hypotheses and quantitative studies to more sociological or humanities, you could think about the use of different tools, not just frontier models like Claude and Gemini, but also specific tools that are now becoming more popular, like AI agents for research specifically, or AI research assistants or deep research assistants. You could technically use those for whether it's conducting large-scale literature and analysis, meta-analysis, or systematic reviews or controlled trials, to developing even kind of new interdisciplinary theoretical and methodological frameworks to visualization, quantitative and qualitative data analysis, and of course to knowledge mobilization, the whole process. But what is allowed in terms of use cases, that remains really to be determined by different disciplines and and subject areas. That in some areas some techniques are heavily used, like we have AI and an AI hub, AI and health hub at the University of Alberta, but recognizing it's very wide ranging in terms of what tools you want to use and how reliable those tools they are. Some of them are not, for example, transparent in terms of what underlying data sources or academic databases they are using. A lot of them are not. Some are more transparent, accountable, that we promote the use of it. But also part of it is experimentation, right? So if you want to develop a new interdisciplinary, methodological framework for a study, how do you actually benefit from these models to actually contribute to that, rather than just passively accepting an output from a simple model? So to answer your question, it really would depend on the discipline, subject area, but also, of course, the popular use cases are like brainstorming, developing some theories, research questions, analyzing the data, and then presentation. But the research process is much more multifaceted and nuanced than it is, particularly when you delve into a specific discipline or subject area. You can imagine how that would actually determine whether it's marketing or experiment in an engineering environment. I'll stop because that's a big issue that I have written about actually. So I'll stop there.
Thank you so much. Robin, I see you with a question.
Yeah, thanks, Karsten. I had put this in the chat, and it's a question about how to engage faculty productively. And I suspect we've all had different experiences. There's a lot of significant pushback. The academic integrity concern is very real. The ethics of AI, even if we park the academic integrity piece for a moment, is very real. The environmental impact of AI is very real. But I feel like those issues are being used to simply not even have a conversation. And in fact, I've got a program here that has developed its own policy for acceptable AI use for its graduate students. I love the idea that they've done that, but their policy is no AI use, and I'm disheartened by that because I don't actually think it's an informed decision. People are still losing their minds over this, and so we see pockets of activity, and we offer workshops, and the Coalition of the Willing come along, but the senior administration can do all we can to come up with good policies and good practices, but ultimately we need the instructors to come alongside and embrace the fact that it's here and it's not going away, and it's only going to continue to become more and more efficient and powerful. And we have to think about the impacts on teaching and learning and program outcomes. And I'm curious about thoughts on how you do that, because there's a certain amount of, and I'm sorry for putting it this way, but I mean, a certain amount of, people are just putting their head in the sand and hope this goes away. And maybe this is just a fad or a bubble that will burst. It will not. We know that's a fact.
Well, thanks. That's an easy one, Robin. We've got that all figured out. No, absolutely. I totally hear that. So some of the things we're doing, I'm sure you're doing many of the same things. We have amazing support from our president and many of our senior leaders. Obviously, we are also known for our expertise and in the AI space and our partnership with Amy. And so AI has a decent amount of prominence at our institution. So that's part of a reality. But then that still doesn't speak to sort of how do we get that to permeate everywhere? This isn't just the thing that happens in comp sci or in the folks that are interested in AI and health. And I think it's a mix. So we ran, again, many of you are doing the same things. We ran an AI day and we had to shut down registration because we had so much interest. And it was sort of thinking about predominantly the teaching and learning environment, but research, all the pieces were there. And so we're doing sort of large scale, big events with keynote speakers and then workshops and like sort of laptops open sessions. So that's part of it. But the other part, and I was talking about this in the meeting just before this, really letting folks know we can also go to your spaces where you are. So, I mean, we have colleagues who really are being very thoughtful about what does it mean to learn and to teach writing when the AI can replicate this. And so how do we have those conversations? We're still working our way through. I have some ideas about, some assessment techniques that could work, but this isn't settled yet. And so that openness to saying, we'll come to you in your space and have the conversations. Or sometimes I'm the barrier. And so maybe it's saying, hey, Janice, do you want to go and have this conversation with a certain area because your expertise is better suited for that. And it's but that I'm making it sound like it's easy or it's all settled, but it is that mix of creating those spaces for the conversation and then also going to where folks are at. Another initiative that I want to speak about that I think is also trying to do some of this work is drawing on Ali's academic work and the work of the Digital Education Council, a great organization. Is building out a AI literacy framework to say, well, what do we actually mean by this? And to then put it into smaller buckets so that we can actually wrap our heads around. We don't all need to be able to, train our own LLMs. That's not the expectation. But what are we wanting our colleagues to learn? What do I need to learn at different levels of competence? And so we're trying to engage our university community in conversation around that as well. And again, that's a mix of focus groups, design sprints, meetings at governance committees, all of the things to try to do that, but also make that a bit of a focal point as well. So hopefully that's helpful. And I see another hand. One of our students, our vice president academic of our students union at the University of Alberta. So we did have a student in the room. Sorry, Katie, I didn't know that. So what is your question?
Yes, hello again, Karsten. I was late to the meeting, so perhaps that's why you didn't see me. My question relates to the student experience of what's happening in the classroom. So I know that we've had some conversations about this before, but I thought I'd bring it to this space. So there is a lot of confusion among students about what is allowed, what is not allowed. And as instructors have different levels of comfortability in how they're using and understanding AI, it leaves students in this space where they are just uncertain, they're not clear on the rules. And in each classroom, it can look very different, especially with the fears of cheating for some instructors. And so they're reverting back to pen and paper ways. And so what are the plans for addressing this confusion and improving the classroom experience for students?
Great question, Katie. If I can be cheeky, it's to engage our students in conversation. But I actually mean that. I think it is really important for us, and we're engaged right now. We have a student experience action plan, and part of that is it's a co-created plan. What is student success? What does it mean to make changes and have an impact on student success at our institution? And as we're refreshing that plan, it's actually engaging with students to hear exactly, I mean, you've already summarized, Katie, right? That divergent experience of AI use in the classroom. So that's certainly part of that and bringing that to the fore, bringing the student voice to the fore, and not just me saying, this is what Katie said, but actually having Katie or your successor in the room to have that conversation with us. So that is one part. And then I think another piece of this is actually that to lean back on the AI literacy piece and trying to find ways of having those conversations throughout. And whether that is using our Center for Teaching and Learning, whether that is using our experts in the libraries, using our experts as researchers in Ali, whether that's actually bringing somebody like Warren in who can, get into the guts of how this works, or a computer scientist. But sort of collectively realizing this is something we all want to level up in. We can level up in, we are leveling up in, and I think over time we will see a more consistent approach to the student experience. But recognize that right now we're all at different points in that learning journey. And I don't know if other panelists, Ali, if you have anything else you might want to add in.
Sure, and I would obviously, from a graduate and postdoctoral scholar's perspective, how do you actually provide advice and support? Which we have, we developed some guidelines specifically around thesis and supervision and writing and manuscript preparation back in late 2023, 2024. And that really is the supervisor, the graduate supervisor, and the supervisory committee members are basically providing that advice and support, and of course recognizing what Robin said, and it's a wide range of different perspectives, whether you are allowing a student to use 4 different tools for developing a framework, for conducting a systematic review, for visualizing data, and for for creating a set of slides or presentations using some sort of AI agent, right? So we take care of that, but also more importantly, from a kind of AI literacy perspective, here at the faculty grad and postdocs, what we have incorporated basically in most of our PD programming, including ethics and academic citizenship, that every single student has to complete, grad student, by the way. So we have incorporated AI. What is it? What are the appropriate uses, etc. But also in graduate teaching and learning module, and various basically opportunities that I offer a wide range of, even for supervisors, not just grad students, because we are all learning together, recognizing there are early adopters who actually benefit, experiment, and explore these tools. And there is the other end of the spectrum, where people actually hesitate or are careful. And I think opportunities that also the Center for Teaching and Learning provides, I think that's part of the question that Robin asked: how do you actually engage them? Providing, I think, educational opportunities to experiment in a safe and collegial and comfortable environment to see what these tools are. We run a number of workshops at CTL for supervisors, for ATS, as the teaching staff. So I think those are different ways of engaging and also promoting the idea that responsible use is okay. And at the University of Alberta, we have always, we have approached this from 2023 in a very open kind of from an open perspective, that we should not ban the use of generative AI on campus. Is how do you actually manage it from a data governance perspective, from security and privacy perspective, from classification, and from the work that the IST is doing in terms of ensuring that access is actually available, but in a responsible and ethical and safe and secure way.
So I don't know, Tiffany, if we can do one last question from Chris.
Yeah, let's take Chris's question, because he's also put some in the chat, and I think they're quite interesting.
Hi there. Sorry, I'm not going to turn on my camera because I'm homesick, and you don't need to see that. But yeah, I've posted a couple of questions in the chat because I'm really interested in what attracted me to this session was that I'm curious about the intersections between all of these areas and how at other institutions at a structural level are, and I'm sure it varies, by size of institution. I'm from a medium-sized institution, Kwantlen Polytechnic, but how are decisions made in the organization? What sort of committees are there for different areas, teaching and learning, research, and so on? How do they communicate? How is that supported structurally? And also curious to know what role, if any, Senate is playing at your institution. And I don't see this talked about very much. Honestly, sometimes I don't know if we all know ourselves what's going on at our institutions. But yeah, I'm really interested to know what other places are doing that way.
Yeah, no, that's a great question, Chris. Thank you. Hope you're feeling better soon. In terms of our Senate, is probably our highest academic body is called the General Faculties Council. We have been engaging that sort of with information and its subcommittees as well. We're having these conversations about, adapting the DEC literacy framework, AI literacy framework to our context. So that's the kind of engagement with those sort of formal governance bodies. But then we have our whole AI committee structure as well. But its function is really to glue all the other pieces together. So rather than creating a new decision-making structure, it is the body. It reports up to our president's executive committee, and so it helps give advice there, but that is the deciding body, like it would be for many decisions, not the academic ones, but the administrative ones. But what tools to turn on and those kind of things, we already have processes for this, and AI is just a new technology for us to think through, and obviously it has different implications. But yeah, so that's sort of how the decision making has been happening, and sort of we have an AI committee and then subcommittees underneath that for those different realms that we've been speaking about. But that's sort of small g governance, right? It's a structure, it's a place people can go for information to bring their initiatives and have conversation, but it is not ultimately a deciding body, it's a recommending body. And then on things like a literacy framework, that ultimately is sort of in part more of an academic decision, and that's engaging on that side of the governance pathway. It's sort of how I would summarize it. But always, with all of these questions, so much more to say. But Tiffany, I'll turn it back to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I think that honestly, that one question probably could be its own full hour, and I'm sure we wouldn't even begin to touch the surface of it. Folks, thank you so much for joining. Thank you to our panelists. Before everyone leaves, I want to use this opportunity to remind you that we are hosting AI Academy at 2026, November 9th and 10th, in partnership with the University of British Columbia. So AI Academy is an AI conference for higher education professionals. We hosted the first one last year. We brought about 500 people to Calgary to talk about kind of that more, what does AI look like in institutions? This time we're coming around. We want to talk, and I think, Warren, you did really well at kind of summarizing a lot of my thoughts on this. What does that experimentation look like now? How have we been measuring what's been working and what isn't? And how do we make sure, that our experimentation is fruitful and interesting and we can share the stories so that we can learn from each other? Warren, I really like what you said. Redundant experimentation isn't really in our interest right now. I think I'll probably use that more than I care to admit to all. Folks, there's 15 early bird tickets left for that conference, and I do suggest if you would like a discount to pick one up now. We are going to be talking about things like this and governance and innovation and the kind of commercialization part, student experience, the full slate. I will get the conference URL in 1 second. I can't type and talk at the same time. You know how some people can't walk and chew gum? I can't type and pull links. So yes, this is really just a moment to say, if this topic has interested you, this might be a really good conference for you to attend. And I will put the link in the chat in 30 seconds if you just hang on. And other than that, thank you all so much for coming, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your Friday. Link is still coming. I should have opened it. It probably would have been smart before we started. The link's in the chat now. So if you're interested, again, please join. It would be really exciting. We're going to do 2 full days of talking about things like this. It'll be fantastic. Janice, Karsten, Warren, Ali, Ibironke, thank you so much for joining. I I have another meeting, so I'm going to jump right away. But again, thank you so much, and please reach out more. I would love to chat more.
Thanks,
Thank
Tiffany.
you.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.